So we have this thing. If you see, we have status bar color set, but this is only for Android. For iOS and for other pages, we need to set that. That will set. And then if you see, we have this button color changed, which is coming from our primary color. If you remember, and the text, this font is also changed. All right, and we have this flyout, which we don't need in our application. So here, first thing what we'll do, we'll quickly set the status bar behavior. Okay, or maybe we'll see when we will not able to see that, then only we'll set it globe. Maybe when we'll work on iOS, then we'll set it. For now, we are good. Now we can start designing our app, but before that, we don't need this top section. So in our app, if you remember the demo, we had a name and then we had three buttons. So I tried to achieve that using the toolbar items, but somehow the thing which I wanted, I was not satisfied what I was getting. And on iOS, I was having a hard time setting those up. The text was sometimes getting in center, sometimes left, and those icon alignment, that was not what I was expecting. So what I did, I created that custom title view. So I totally get rid of this thing. That's what we'll do. All right. So first thing what I want to do in here, I don't want this flyout behavior, so I'm simply going to remove it. So we have disabled flyout and logged, so we are going to use disabled. Save it. Then the top color we are going to use our primary color. So for this we'll say shell dot background color. We'll use our static resource primary color. Okay, then in this color, this text is not looking good. We should have white color, the light color which we have in this top section. Let's use that. For this we can say shell dot foreground color. We can set it to white. Save it. Foreground color is white, and then with this we can set the title color as well. We'll set it right. So title color, and looks like we are good. And let's add the shadow as well. The shell dot navbar has shadow. We'll set it to true. Make it better. All right. So we are good with this thing. Now I'm simply going to stop this, and I'm going to start. First, what we'll do. So this is the demo of minimize this. Something is okay. Maybe let's try to. We'll maybe design it on the physical device if we need. Sometimes it takes out. All right. So we have stopped it. We'll simply go to Solution Explorer, and we are going to start creating pages one by one. So the first page we need our onboarding page. Okay. So inside pages, I'm going to create a new page. Right click, add new item. So all template, and this is going to be a .NET MAUI content page. .NET MAUI content page with XAML, not just C#. I'm going to say call it onboarding page.xaml, and we have it here. After this, I'm directly going to app shell, and before this home page, I'm going to add that page so that when I'm running it, then I should see that and I should be able to design it. That's why I'm doing this. So here we'll say inside pages, we need onboarding page, and the route we'll set the same thing. Title also, although we'll remove this title from that page, but we are good with this. Save it. Let me select my local device. So I have this very old Android phone, and the good thing about MAUI is it works on this very old phone. So I'm going to run it. This paid page should come, and then I'm going to use Visor. I'm using Visor for mirroring my screen. So that is installed in both in my physical mobile device and on my PC. It syncs and it shows the output from my. Okay, it is going to take some time, so let it install. I'll be opening the visor and setting it up, and I'll be putting it here. Then I'll start designing this onboarding page, right? All right, so here is it. We can see onboarding page, first page. Then we can start designing it. So let's go to onboarding page and let's start designing. So first thing, we don't need title on this page. Okay. So for this thing, we'll simply say shell dot navbar is visible. We'll set it to false. Okay. Now that is gone from here. After that, I want this entire page's background to be my static resource primary color. So we can see this. Now inside this, I'm going to have a grid which will have one image. Okay. And then after that image, we are going to have some text. And at the very bottom, I'm going to have a button which should say get started and it will lead to the next page. All right. So first we need to have a grid. So let's quickly have a grid. I removed whatever was there. So grid, I'm going to have row definitions. So we'll have first star, then auto. So star means remaining space, whatever space we have. Auto means whatever space the content needs, content requires. Whatever content we have, whatever space it needs, that will be inside auto. Then I'm going to have one more star for the spacing. And then I'm going to have this auto. All right. Inside this, first thing I want to have one grid where I'm going to have my image and then two piece of text. Okay. So here I'm going to have a row definition. The first image, I'll have just auto. And then I'm going to have two piece of text. So auto and auto, whatever space we can have. Inside this, let's have one image. I'm going to set this source and this image I already added. So this is social underscore media dot png. This is the image I have here. Save it. And now we are good with this image. Now, because I have not set any grid.row or grid.column, so by default it goes with grid.row 0 and column 0. So first row, first column. Now these stars, these I have added just for spacing so that I can have some space. Now what I'll do, I'll set this grid inside this parent grid's first column, that is column row 0 will be the star spacing and then row 1 will be this auto, that means this grid. So this is what I am going to have, grid dot row 1. If I'll save it, it is moved to the center. Now if you see, auto means whatever space it is taking, star from the top, then star from the bottom, and auto for the last row. And I don't have any content, that means the last row is not taking up any space. That's why this icon, this is in perfect center vertically. Now we'll change it. Yeah, of course. Now after this image, I'm going to have a label. This will be grid.row1. Now pay attention, this label is child of this grid. So this image by default, the first image, it has row 0. And then this label has row 1. And here I'm going to have a text. Here we could say anything. I say hello there. If I say this, I can see this hello there text here. Now we just need to move it to the center, make it bigger and make it white. The first thing, let's say horizontal option center. All right. Then let's have the color. So text color as white. Then let's make the font size 25. Okay. And maybe we can have font attributes bold as well. Save it. and this is here. All right. Now we can have some spacing between these. So for this, on this grid, we can simply have row spacing, and let's set it to somehow 10 or 20. Okay, maybe let's make it 20. Save it, and we have this spacing now. All right, now I'm going to have two more piece of text, two lines basically. So for those, what I'll do, I'll simply have a vertical stack layout here with grid dot row 2. This is the inner grid. Okay, and here I'm going to have two labels. First label, let's have welcome to this, and then one more label with the text social media app. Save it so we can see these things here. Let's do the similar thing here. We can move these things to the center one by one. Maybe let's try centering this grid horizontally. Horizontal options as center. Would it make any difference? Yes, made this change. All right. Now we just need to make these two things also white and make these bigger. Okay. The first thing is text color white. Do this text color white, text color white. Save. And then let's increase the font size 25. We'll do this welcome to this, and on the second one let's make it maybe 30 or 35. Let's make it 30. Save it, and we are good. We need some spacing for these welcome to this and social media app as well. So both of these are uh, children of this vertical stack layout. So we can have spacing on this vertical stack layout. We'll say spacing 10. Save it, and we can have the. Now these are not, these are center aligned from left and right, but I want these text to be center aligned as well. So on these individual item level as well, I'm going to have horizontal options as center on both of these labels. Save it, and we are good. Okay. Now let this one, this social media app, this text, let's make this text bold, or maybe let's make all these bold. Font attribute bold and font attribute. Save it, and now we are good with it. All right. Let's minimize this grid, collapse this grid. Then now I will have one button here. Okay. Button, then grid dot row. Now I want this button to be at the very end. Okay. So for this, that's why I added this spacing. If I'll set it to, if I don't have this thing, I'll remove this. So 0, 1 and 2 is auto. If I set it like this, let's have some text that started. Everything is at the bottom. That's because the row number is fine. Now if I say button dot grid row dot 2 0 1 2, it will be here, but I need this at the very bottom. That's why I'm going to use this last row, that is 3. So this spacing between these, this is handled by this star. I'm saying we should have, you should have this grid spacing, whatever space is remaining, take this for this row, but we didn't provide any control for this, so it will be empty space, blank space. All right, now we have this button. On this button, I'm going to have a background color as white. You can see this. After that, for this one, I'm going to have a text color as our primary color. Okay. After that, let's have horizontal options as center, but then it will make it smaller. But I need it to big, a big button. So let's do this. We can wrap this button in some other control, it could be border or vertical or any stack layouts. We can directly have just stack layout without providing any orientation. I think default is vertical stack layout only, but we are good. So we'll set grid.row on this one, and then we can set a padding on this one. Then we'll have our button. Now we can remove this grid.row from this button. Now if you see, we have this spacing. Now let's remove this horizontal option center, and we have this. All right. Now the default height of these buttons, these are handled by the global styles. In style.xaml, if we search for button, button. So the style height and width minimum is 44. So the minimum height is 44. So here this minimum height is 44. What I need is I want to make the sides, this left and right, rounded. Okay. So here what we can do, we can simply set a corner radius as 22. Now from where this 22 came? This came from the style because height is 44. Okay, the height is 44. If we want to make these rounded corners, we need to have the 50% of the height. So that's why half of 44 is 22. So 22 from top and 22 from bottom. So it makes this perfect rounded corners from both of these sides. Save everything. All right. Okay, so everything looks fine. Let's do one more thing. We'll say font attributes bold for this get started text. Now we are good. Our onboarding page is ready. Now for this button, what I will do, I will have a slightly uh, smaller height. So minimum height request, instead of 44, I'm going to use 40. Width, we are good. We don't have to do anything for this. Now when I do this 40, we should actually have this corner radius as 20. Now this corner radius, this also is something which we can we may need on other buttons. So let's make this thing, this corner radius 20, add some style, some global style which we can use. So for this, what I'll do, I'll simply go to the app or to move this. All right, I'll go to app.xaml, and on app.xaml, we have this resource dictionary, merge dictionary, and here we have these colors and styles, right? So inside this merge dictionary only, I'm going to add one more resource dictionary, and we are going to have our global styles, which we are overriding from styles. We are going to have these here. So here I'm going to have a style. Target type is going to be button. On button, and we need to give it a key. So let me give it rounded. Inside this, we are going to have a setter. Property is going to be the corner radius, and the value is going to be 20, half of the height. We'll add other things here whenever we need. And then on this onboarding, we can remove this corner radius from here. We'll save it. Now we can see the corners are not rounded. Now we need to access that thing. So here we'll set style, and we can say static resource, and now we can have this rounded in IntelliSense here. So we can select this, save it, and now again we have the same perfectly rounded corners here. All right, now our onboarding page is ready. Do let me know in the comment how is this page looking. I like this thing, and this color, I love this color actually. All right, now we'll move next. When we click on this get started, ideally what we'll do, we'll have the logic where we'll simply check if user is installing this app and opening this app for the first time, then only we'll show this page. After that, we are not going to show this page. Okay, and then on get started, it will go to the login page, and if user closes the app and opens it again, it will directly go to the login page. It will not come to the onboarding page again. That is what we'll do later in this series. Okay, now we are good with this page. Now in next video, next part, we are going to work on the login page.